I'm me. If you don't like me, don't hire me. And that's my approach.
Yeah.
If you like, and that's for everybody. I think everybody should just be themselves.
Yeah.
And if somebody doesn't want to hire you, it's not a fit.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to KT Confidential. This is episode 142. I'm host number 1, Adrian Trott. I'm sitting virtually next to host number 2, Ariel Kormendy, who's also my next door neighbor and business partner and quasi-friend.
Quasi-friend. Hi there, pal. Episode 142, I'm going to get heated. I'm going to try not to get too heated.
Well, I don't think it's... So here's the premise. I don't really know how to explain the topic, but the way the topic or the conversation...
I'll tell you.
The way the conversation...
Somebody didn't want to hire us because we swear in our podcasts.
Which in itself is not a bad thing.
Okay. I'm not going to mention any names. We're going to keep it really vague. But here's what happened. One of our realtors had an acquaintance that lives locally in the area. Same neighborhood.
Involved with them with local stuff. Like they have a local Facebook page they work together on.
Yeah, yada, 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 yada. They know each other really well.
Yes.
That person decided that he wanted to work, or they wanted to work with our realtor.
Yes.
Even prior to any other discussions. And the wheels were kind of getting in motion.
They were moving. They were moving.
The wheels were in motion. Until, I believe, when our realtor sent the listing agreements to be signed. I think it was in and around that time frame where
it was the day that the staging consultation was to take place.
Right. So the wheels were definitely in motion. Our designer was going to go to the house that day and do the walkthrough to prepare our staging plan.
Yeah.
And that seller contacted our realtor and said, I'm sorry, we're not going to be moving forward. We're not comfortable. We saw your bosses swearing in their podcast, and we feel like we don't align with that form of communication.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
And our realtor did not get the listing.
Right.
Because of that.
So I think the good thing that comes of this is, and a good message for other realtors out there, is you're not going to win every deal. You're not going to mesh with everybody. And you can't take it personally. Sometimes there's just a conflict in personality. That's just, people want to work with people they want to work with. There needs to be some degree of synergy, or there should be, if you want to have a pleasurable experience. So I don't blame the guy. I think it was a little bit silly because he had it sounds like he had a good relationship built with our team member.
Exactly. If it's just some random person that calls us and says, hey, we want to talk about potentially listing our home. And then when they do the due diligence on us, they see, maybe it's not a fit. But, you're much more politically correct about these things than I am. And you always have been. I'm just more outspoken. And I probably was the one swearing in the podcast. I don't even know which podcast. High probability.
Because when I swear, I feel like it's graceful.
Subtle?
No, it's graceful.
Right. It's graceful.
Like, wow, right. He really conveyed his point effectively using those words. It was very suitable. For you, It's, wow, this guy's an asshole.
Right. And my wife has said that to me in numerous occasions. Why are you being an asshole? Or why are you swearing? Stop swearing so much. I don't know. Listen, I'm me. If you don't like me, don't hire me. And that's my approach.
Yeah.
If you like, and that's for everybody. I think everybody should just be themselves.
Yeah.
And if somebody doesn't want to hire you, it's not a fit. But
Yeah.
The way the response was from this individual was, why I got upset about it was because the relationship that person had with this realtor.
Yes.
And despite you, I was on holiday, or I was not available on that day or whatever, and you reached out to that person. You called that individual.
Yes.
And
I had a few good conversations with him.
And you apologized. You took the video down. You said, listen, it's no representation of our professionalism, although to him, maybe it was.
Well, I mean,
to each their own.
Yeah, I don't believe it was as much him as it perhaps was his spouse. But,
listen,
if
at the end of the day, well, if you talk to Sherry, the controller of our brokerage, who processes every single deal through the brokerage, and has for, I don't know how long she's been doing that job, 20 years. And I mean, I don't know how many transactions the brokerage processes annually, but it's in 4 figures, like it's over 1,000 transactions. And consistently she says, you guys are amongst the most professional realtors I've ever come across, and have the best paperwork I have come across. So much so that one of the people that work with her, one of the trade desk administrators that work with our controller, is currently taking, Danielle, she's currently taking her realtor course. And a whole bunch of realtors were trying to get her to join them and their team. But she specifically reached out to us to join our team, and she will be joining our team later this year. We haven't made any announcements because...
Well, now we kind of have.
Yeah, I guess we just did let the cat out of the bag. Danielle Brown, welcome to the team. She wanted to join our team because she loves what we do. She loves our social. She has people listening to us in Ireland, listening and watching our podcast in Ireland because of how she just fell in love with the podcast. But specifically, she knows that our paperwork is awesome, that everything we do is above grade, that our professionalism and code of ethics are top notch. So if I swear, or if I show up in a golf shirt and shorts and sandals to a listing presentation, don't discriminate us for that. That's how I feel. I mean, you're entitled to your own opinion. If you want me to, if you want somebody to show up in a suit and tie and never swear, and sit all prim and proper, we're not the guys for you. Thanks for coming out.
No, absolutely. Well, and people are
going
to resonate
somebody
with
that's going to work their ass off and knows how to get the job done right and do it better than anybody else on the planet, then you hire us.
I agree. But some people can't get beyond certain things, and that's fine. And there's certain demographics we're going to appeal to, and some we're not. There's a guy on TikTok, again, I've been spending a lot of time on TikTok, so a lot of TikTok references, but there's a realtor in Toronto on TikTok. He's openly gay, and every post he does hashtag gay, because that's a demographic that he's going to resonate with very well. And those are people that are going to connect with him. For us, if it's like somebody that's extremely religious and against swearing, maybe they don't want to work with us. I don't know. But I think what it boils down to a lot, I do think there should be some synergy. I think you do need to, but I think you need to give people a chance. Like this particular situation, I actually quite like the gentleman. I had a few conversations with him. He's very intellectual. He was funny. We had some good conversations. If I ran into him on the street, we'd get along quite well. But I didn't have that chance with his wife, which I believe that if that opportunity was made available, that perhaps their perception of us would have been different. And I think that's what it boils down to is, she saw one video, completely hated it, and was turned off. My dad hates Gary Vee, but I think anyone that truly knows Gary Vaynerchuk, they know he's a very, genuine, nice person with good intentions. But he probably can't get past the swearing either.
I gotta tell you, Gary Vee, like I've been following him, I want to say 5 years or so now, maybe a bit more. And I've lost a little bit of interest of what he does and who he is and all of that, just because it's kind of overload sometimes because he pushes out a ton of content. But between VaynerX, VaynerMedia, Vayner Sports, Wine Library, like all of these businesses that he's involved in, he is an entrepreneurial genius for the current times. You look at his NFT project right now, like that guy's doing amazing things, and he has a huge following globally.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at any platform, whether it's TikTok, Insta, Facebook, whatever, he kills it. YouTube, Twitter, like he's everywhere and killing it everywhere in social and online. And not too many posts where you will see him not swearing. I was watching one the other weekend where he went garage sailing, and as you know, that used to be one of my favorite things to do, garage sailing and auctioning. And he hit a score. He got like, I don't remember how many books, 1,000 books that were worth each
I think I saw that.
$5 to $10 a book, and he got 1,000 books for $270. And literally every second word was a swear word in his end post that day because he was so psyched. He was pumped, right? And it just comes out. And people have asked him, people have said, why do you swear so much? And his answer is because that's me and I don't give a fuck. That's his answer, right?
Oh, people call him out all the time. There was a lady saying, "Oh, yeah. do you swear at home?" And he's like, "Yeah, I do." In front of your kids? Yeah, I do. And I'm much the same. Alicia sometimes frowns on it a little bit, but I think it's important to. I don't think it's something you should be afraid of. I think it's something you need. You address it, and they, in the case of kids, they learn when it's appropriate, when it's not, how to use it, and I don't know. I mean, some people will like it, some people won't.
Anyway, I don't know if there's anything more to discuss about that or not, but let me ask the audience. I'm going to poll the audience right now. That's what I'm going to do. Leave a comment and let us know if swearing on this podcast or in general, as realtors, as professional, high-achieving realtors in that own multiple businesses, multiple properties, have lots of employees now. Comment. Let us know. Do you think we shouldn't swear? Would you like to see more swearing? Do you not care either way? I don't know. You tell us.
I remember 2 instances, and I've said this before. One time when I was in the auto industry, I was chatting with the general sales manager, and I think that's what his position was. And he said, or I was growing a beard at the time, not like just hardly, like I hadn't shaved for a couple of days, and I don't grow hair quickly, so I had like 5 o'clock shadow. And he's like, "You'll never be successful with that. People don't trust. It's proven. People don't trust people with beards." And then there was another time in the real estate industry at our office, there was a woman, I don't remember her position, but she said, "You'll never be successful if you wear jeans." This is funny. And then, so there are going to be people who feel the same way about.
And look at you now, all bearded and jeaned up.
I'm wearing jeans every day, man. There are people out there that have the same perception about swearing, and they may choose not to work with somebody in a service they hire somebody for because of that. And that's fine. But I think the biggest thing is just you need to be you. And that's one of the things I said to this gentleman is I said, listen, like, I'm not going to put on a front. I'm not going to put on a $5,000 watch, $5,000 suit and pretend to be something I'm not. Like, this is who I am, and you get who I am. And if you run into me at a restaurant, I'm going to be the same person that you saw in that video on the podcast. Whereas there's a lot of people putting on a facade.
Speaking of facade, do you feel, and here's another poll the audience, okay? And I want to hear the true comments from people that are listening and watching. Is the vehicle that a realtor drives a representation of their success? Do you feel, or do you think, if a realtor is rolling around in a, I don't know, pick a vehicle, 5-year-old Honda Civic or a 10-year-old Honda Civic, do you feel that, or would you think that realtor is less successful than the realtor pulling up in a brand new, whatever, Audi?
Can I answer that?
Yeah, of course you can.
I'll say what I think I would like to think how I would interpret this situation. Okay, so
are you going to say how you feel, or
I'm going to tell you how I feel? I mean, this is my personality, so this is definitely how it would play out. And I'm putting myself back in my shoes back before I was a real estate agent, before, as I was preparing, Alicia and I were preparing to sell our house in Oakville. If I had 2 real estate agents scheduled for an interview and, they both came in, did their thing. One was a high performing, nicely dressed individual, showed up in a fancy car. Second person was a bit younger, not necessarily like overly nicely put together, but was very presentable, clean shoes, not ratty looking. But they pulled up in a, I don't know, $10,000 used Honda Civic. I think they could still very easily persuade me to hire them over the other person. I think it has nothing to do with their image whatsoever. It would be completely about how the conversation went.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm curious to know what people think about that. And we have people on our team. I mean, now you and I drive what would be considered luxury vehicles, but we didn't previously, or, much cheaper vehicles back then. I've always had a nice car. I'm a car fanatic. I like cars. So it's important to me, not as a status thing. I just like having cars with fancy gadgets if I can afford it. But we have people on our team that drive, average and below average vehicles, and they're making above average income. And I just wonder, so if somebody didn't want to hire us because we're swearing, is there a chance that somebody doesn't get hired because they don't have a nice car?
I think it almost always comes down to the whole package.
And I remember 10 years, more than 10 years ago now, 15 years ago, I was in the market for a condo in Las Vegas. And my grandfather and I said, okay, let's take a trip together. And as you know, I still have family that lives out there. So we took a trip together for a few days and we went condo searching. So I reached out in advance. I reached out to a realtor, found her online, and she was excellent in her communication, both email and over the phone. I said, okay, let's set up some showings. So when we arrive, basically I wanted to get off the plane, throw my bags in the room, grab a bite to eat, and go check out some condos. So that's what we did. And she said, okay, meet me at this address and then we'll go from there. So we had a rental car. We drove to the location and we're waiting. And she pulls up and it was a brand new Lexus. And first thing out of my grandfather's mouth, he looks at me, he goes, where did you find her? I said, I did some researching online and she was great to communicate with. I reached out to several realtors and she seemed like she was on the ball. And he goes to me, she does good. She does well. I said,
because of the car.
How do you know? He said, well, look, she's driving a brand new Lexus. She must do all right. So
it's funny. There, to a degree, it's for me, it's almost a turnoff too. With some things, like there's one person that posts a lot about buying expensive name brand garments, clothing, shoes, everything, fancy stuff. And for me, there's a negative connotation with it where I'm like, bit of a show off, doesn't interest me. Versus somebody who is more genuine. I mean, that is genuine to them. I suppose that's what they like, but for me, it just doesn't resonate with me.
And there's still a viewing audience for that person, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So the person that does want to work with somebody that has the $2,000 Prada shoes because they like Prada, or they fancy the $15,000 watch or whatever. I mean, that's their audience, and those people click, and that's a match made for them. I don't know. I find it a little bit distasteful. Like, could you and I be rocking some Canali suits, Prada shoes, and a Rolex watch, and going for hot shave every other afternoon and this and that? Yeah, sure, but not us. So
yeah,
I'm perfectly happy, and I think this is from just an Amazon Basics. I can't tell. Can you see what it?
I can't see it. No? I can't see it all. I can see the price is extra small.
Yeah, no, you're a funny guy. Amazon Basics, right there. $10 shirt. That's what I'm wearing. Okay. But I'm curious, what does the audience think? Leave us a comment. Let us know. Episode 142 of KT Confidential, the real estate podcast. Even if we swear, we'd appreciate your business.
Ciao.
Bye.